Senate will come to order. Chief Clerk, please call the roll.
Senate roll call, Legislative Day number 17, March 2nd, 2026. Anderson. Here. Barlow. Present. Boner. Here. Brennan. Here. Case. Present. Cooper. Here. Crago. Here. Crum. Present. Dockstetter. Here. Driscoll. Here. French. Here. Guru. Here. Hicks. Here. Hutchings. Here. Ide. Here. Jones. Here. Kolb. Landon. Here. Larson. Here. Love. Here. McEwen. Here. Nethercott. Here. Olson. Here. Pappas. Here. Pearson. Rothfuss. Here. Salazar. Here. Kolb. Present. Schuler. Here. Scott. Here. Steinmetz. Here. President Beitman.
Here.
31 present.
Thank you, Chief Clerk. Our chaplain of the day is Father Tom Cronkleton Jr. from St. Mary's Cathedral, an old friend. Welcome back to the Senate.
And let us pray. Lord God, as we begin this last week of the budget session, and as the time to complete our work becomes short, be with us as we seek to move the last of the bills from committee, hear legislation on general file, second and third readings, and discuss those measures needing concurrence. Guide our deliberations and discussions this day and grace us with knowledge, wisdom, and good judgment. For we pray as King Solomon prayed, give your servant, therefore, a listening heart to judge your people and to distinguish between good and evil. Help us always to work for the good of all the people of this great state, recognizing that we sometimes might not fully agree on what is in the best interests of everyone, but not letting any differences cause major divisions or strife among us. Be with our men and women in the armed services who now are in harm's way. Give them your protection and care, and may the conflict end soon. Bless all we do this day and seek to do and to accomplish. We ask this in all things in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Father. Senator Olson, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reading correction and approval of journal. Will the reading clerk please read the journal committee report?
Mr. President, the Journal Committee reports that the Journal of February 27, 2026 has been read and recommends that it be approved. Senator Crum, Chairman.
Thank you. Are there any objections? There being none, the report is adopted. Doctor of the day is Dr. Danae Stampley from Cheyenne. Yeah, right here in good old Cheyenne. Welcome to the Senate. Thank you for being here. Thank you. On this day in 1807, the U.S. Congress passed an act to prohibit the importation of slaves into any port or place within the jurisdiction of the United States. Quote for the day, Monday is not the enemy, it's the beginning of a new adventure. So they say. I don't think today is going to qualify for that, but we'll see. Dad joke of the day, what would bears be without bees? Ears. Yes, ears. Announcements. Today, finally hitting some people how truly bad that joke was. We welcome Callie Christensen, a senior from Newcastle High School, as this week's student page. Callie is an impressive young lady. She is a senior. She's former president of the Girls State Senate, so kudos to her on that. She's already moving up my list here. Oh my gosh, her bio is very impressive. Honor roll all 4 years of high school, FFA state first place, extemporaneous public speaking, FBLA state first place, intro to event planning, FBLA state first place, help desk, volleyball varsity captain, American Legion Science Fair Award winner, FFA Agri-Science Fair second place. She's the president of National Honor Society. She's involved in Sources of Strength, Turning Point USA. She's the senior class president. She's in student council, FFA president, and on and on and on and on. This girl is top notch. Welcome to the Senate, Callie Christensen. Senator Barlow.
Mr. President, I could add one more thing that was not on her resume. Her grandfather, Earl Christensen, was a great-grandfather. Earl Christensen was president of the Senate.
That's right. And she's also cousins of our Sergeant-at-Arms, Dick Morrison, but we won't hold that against her. Hopefully she's got some good jokes like Gold Dick does, but well, I'll test you out on that tomorrow. Today's the last day for bills to be reported out of committee in the second house. Tomorrow is the last day for committee of the whole in the second house. And if you went home over the weekend, please stop into the main LSO office and complete the mileage book. Mr. Vice President, could you take the chair, please?
President of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Pursuant to Senate Rule 5-5, I move that the Senate recall House Bill 141, Fifth Amendment Protection Act from Committee Number 2 Appropriations. Pursuant to Mason's Section 491-6, I further move to suspend Senate Rules 5-4 and 6-1, and pursuant to Senate Rule 10-7, to commit House Bill 141 directly to Committee of the Whole.
Under Senate Rule 5-5, the motion to recall must be seconded by 3 senators. 1, 2, and 3.
Announce them.
Be Senator Larson, Senator Steinmetz, and Senator Pearson. The motion has been seconded by 3 members. The motion to recall is debatable as to the advisability of the motion. Under Senate Rule 1-3, the motion to suspend the rules requires a 2/3 vote to the elected members of the Senate. Senator Beitman.
Mr. Vice President, as you know, I hold a fundamental belief in private property rights. I believe that restricting the rights of property owners comes with a high bar. In 2021, I ran a bill that looked very much like this, as I felt the need to get legislation passed to undo what Teton County had done. I support the policies in this bill. I believe that a majority of the body supports the policy in this legislation. The reality is, Mr. Vice President, that this bill, at least to a significant portion of the public, is tainted by a cloud of suspicion and mistrust. Our senators are now put in a position to either have their integrity questioned by voting for a bill currently under investigation for potential bribery, or to vote against a bill they believe in because of the actions of political agitators who can't get out of their own way. I should have never let this bill out of my drawer. That is on me, Mr. Vice President. Our leadership team, after consulting a number of senators, decided that the cloud of suspicion was not worth the vote and the institution of the Senate needed to be protected. This bill has been tainted, and this policy should be handled by the next legislature. We made this choice so the Senate could do the work of the people expected of us and not be distracted. This weekend, a group of senators who do not live in the county in question decided that despite this cloud of suspicion, it was critical that this vote happen. We expressed our concern that this bill was tainted and should be the next legislator's duty, but they were adamant. So I rise today to put this in the hands of those senators who feel it is so important that this special bill, which only impacts one county, that is part of a criminal investigation, be heard. I will be a no. I will be voting my conscience on this bill. Even though I support this policy and always have, I'll be voting no because the people of Wyoming deserve legislation that is free from a dark cloud of suspicion. I urge you to vote your conscience as well. Thank you.
Senator Steinmetz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to say the Wyoming Constitution protects legislative independence. For any speech or debate in either house, they shall not be questioned in any other place. So let me say this plainly. I will not cave to threats, whether whispered or shouted, that senators will be investigated for voting on legislation. That kind of pressure is not civic engagement. It is intimidation dressed up as accountability. And it is an attack on this institution because it tries to replace open debate with fear and the consent of the governed with behind-the-scenes coercion. The people of Wyoming did not send us here to be managed. They sent us here to think, speak, debate, and vote in the light, according to our oaths and according to the Constitution. Article 3, Section 16 is a shield for representative government itself. It exists because the founders understood something timeless. A legislature that can be threatened into silence is no longer a legislature. It becomes a rubber stamp. And here's the deeper truth. The real wrongdoing would be for us to refuse to vote on legislation designed to protect private property from being taken without just compensation. Because Wyoming's Constitution is equally clear that private property shall not be taken or damaged for public or private use without just compensation, and that property may not be taken for private use without the owner's consent. When the government can pressure a property owner through fees, conditions, or concessions to surrender value as price of the permit, that is not voluntary. That is a coerced transfer. And when this body is pressured to look the other way, to stand down, or to delay and stay silent, that is not prudence. It is abdicating our constitutional duty. So I am not intimidated by the prospect of political blowback. I am far more concerned about the precedent of legislators being told, don't you dare vote, because the day we can accept that is the day Wyoming citizens lose the protection of a free legislature and the day property rights become negotiable depending on who shouts loudest. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Other discussion? Senator Ide.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. A lot of good comments from good president back here. Agree with a lot of that, with exactly what the good senator from Goshen County just mentioned too. I don't have a prepared speech, but I'm obviously in the crosshairs of some of this problem that's going on. And I just want to be honest with everybody, as I have been in the past. My name's on the bill. Effectively, I've already voted for it. I don't think I've done anything that compromises my values or the values of this chamber. It's a good property rights bill, as the good president said, and I stand behind that, and I plan to vote for the bill. And if there's, I wish there was some other words I could say, but I'm not ashamed of anything here, and I plan to be an aye vote on this bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Hicks.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think it's very important that we segregate the issues out here. One of them's a policy issue, and one of them's a policy issue that revolves around our constitutional private property rights. That's the issue that the bill contemplates. Now, there's another process out there called the judicial system and the legal process, and so we should not conflate those two when, in fact, what we may be very well doing is called guilt by accusation. And so what I would hope that this body would do could look at our constitutional obligations to protect private property rights and segregate that out from the politics and the judicial side of the conversation that's happening over here. They're distinctly different issues that we have to grapple before ourselves today. And so I would encourage an aye vote on both bringing this out to the floor, but also on bringing the bill out and voting on that. So I do think it's important that we understand this side of the equation and this side of the equation, and we don't conflate those, that somehow that they're intertwined and interrelated, that we can deal with this as a policy issue for the state of Wyoming and focus on that and not all the other stuff that's floating around out there. I think guilt by accusation is one of the greatest travesties that we could implement on our own constitutional and our ability to pass good legislation on policy in this body.
Any other discussion? Senator Guru.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well. I'd first like to thank the body for once again being so concerned about the county in which I represent. Thank you. I agree with just about everything that's been said so far, just maybe in a little bit different order. We do have the right and the responsibility, Mr. Chairman, to debate issues of the day, including private property rights. I too, you might be surprised to learn, say there's a lot about that current piece of legislation that I happen to agree with. There are certain parts I don't, and certain parts that I feel very strongly about. As someone who's been involved with the issue intimately since I spent 4 years as a town councilman enacting them, 6 years as a county commissioner working on them. And I do think that our community has a lot to say about it and has a lot of expertise in saying it. And there's a lot of misinformation about it. But let's take all that and put it right over here for just a second, Mr. Chairman. And let's talk about perception and what's happened around here the last 3 weeks. Unfortunately, perception becomes reality. You find it all the time. You walk into a grocery store, you walk into a post office, and you're the big G. We're government. One of us, votes for Supreme Court justices. The other one, is in charge of your parking tickets. The folks out there don't necessarily parse out what it is we do and how we do it. But what they do hear a lot, and their perception is that we're, just a bunch of buck-passing politicians. And a lot of us are kind of on the tick, We get special favors, and we get this and we get that. And then all of a sudden something happens that actually, in some minds, in the public perception, personifies that very thing, Mr. Chairman. And all of a sudden, all of us are tainted with that brush. Is it right? Of course it's not. And it's certainly not right in this body. I am more proud today of the Wyoming Senate than I ever have been in the 8 years that I have served. Never. The question for me is that going to continue? Our friends down at the other end of the hall don't enjoy that glow of propriety right now. Is it their fault? I don't know. I don't know. The jury, they say, is still out. There's a committee down the hall actually studying that very thing. There's an investigation going on in the legal world on that very thing. Where is it right now? I do not know. People are innocent until proven guilty. I believe that. But right now there's a cloud, Mr. Chairman, and that cloud extends down the hall. The question is, on this next vote, is that cloud going to come through those doors? Is that cloud going to come in this room? Is that fair? No. I ask you to pull out your driver's license right now and take a look and see if the stamp fair on your driver's license. It's not. Or in any other document. Life is not fair. What's happening right now is unfair. And it's unjust in a lot of different ways, but I don't know which way right now, and neither does anyone else. So the question becomes, what do we do today? Take this piece of legislation that we may agree on. Now let's pull that back for a second and say, do we agree or disagree? I want to have that argument.
But I urge this body not to take up this argument while this other little situation is occurring. We pass bills all the time, and when they don't pass, the good ideas, Mr. Chairman, they always come back. This is an idea that needs discussion. My urge is that we vote no today to bring it back, because today is not the day, because of other situations that are occurring. Does that mean we're being threatened or coerced? No, that means we're being smart and prudent. That means that we're going to take the time to let the process evolve, and we need to keep the honor of this institution. We trust the process, we honor the institution. I heard that the first day I walked in this building. I believed it, and it serves me now. Let's see if it serves all of us. No on the motion. Thank you.
Senator Hutchins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I try to live a peaceful life, minding my own business. I had no idea this was going to happen today. I remember speaking to the president about this bill, and my thought was that this bill should be given a hearing based on its own merits. I'm on this bill because I don't listen to the news. I don't read the newspaper. I had no idea until last week that this bill was part of the controversy that I signed on to. When I was given this bill to sign on to it, I had no idea what it meant, what town or city was involved. If you look at the bill, it says cities, towns, and counties are prohibited from doing whatever this bill is asking, not what someone told me it was going to do to a specific area in our state. So, innocent, naive, I don't know. I have never voted to bring a bill out of committee because I just didn't think it was right. But today, I'm going to stand on the principle of doing what's right. And in this case, I believe this is the right thing to do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator
Mr.
Hicks, for your
Chairman,
second
for my
time.
second time, I want to talk about the personification of public opinion. It seems to be the issue that we're debating now. What is that personification of public opinion of this body, of the Senate? Well, let me tell you what that personification is this body, 31 senators, unanimous letter condemning the actions that occurred. We took a stand, and then we went 1 second further than that, Madam Chairman, or Mr. Chairman.
Point of order. I've noticed throughout
What is
session
your point
that
of
those
order?
on the side continue to turn around and speak to the body. Let's follow our rules and look forward and address everything to the chair. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Hicks, if you'll address the chair, please.
So, Mr. Chairman, absolutely. Again, we should all follow the rules. So I would appreciate that. If we're going to do that, let's follow those rules as we move forward. We took a stand and we signed a letter. That's the integrity of the Wyoming Senate. Said we condemned what happened. And then we went even 1 step further. We adopted new rules. We've done everything to protect the integrity of the legislative branch and the Senate, and says we have the capability in the Senate to be able to debate policy and recognize other issues outside of the policy arena that we need to address. And we've done that, and we've maintained that personification of public transparency and integrity of this body. We've done that side of the equation, Mr. Chairman. Now we need to debate the policy side. Is this good policy for the state of Wyoming, or is it not? Are we going to protect private property rights, Mr. Chairman? Are we not? That's the debate that we're having. We've done to recognize the integrity of this institution by the actions that we've already taken associated with this. So, Mr. Chairman, again, on and for.
Other discussion? Senator Pearson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not going to belabor this. I'm on and for this. Regardless of what cloud may come over into this body, this is about private property rights. And even though this is perceived to only be happening in one county right now, it's going to spread to, I believe, all counties if we don't do something to mitigate this. So on and for. Thank you.
Senator Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. First of all, I'd like to thank the gentleman behind me for his words. I think it took a lot of courage to stand up and say what he said, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud of this entire Senate. I'm a little offended by the senator to my right over here who suggested that any vote in this Senate could be swayed by threats. There's not a person in this room that lacks integrity enough to allow a threat to sway their vote. That's incorrect. I'm truly offended by that. The question is not the merits of the bill right now. The question is primarily whether or not this is a tainted bill. It is a tainted bill, but we need to address it as such. Thank you.
Senator Kolb.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe I'm on this bill. For me, it's the integrity of the institution. I'll say it that way. This is the Senate. I think I always believed that when I got here, I would leave it as good or better than I found it. I think when we start talking about this issue, it goes beyond the bill. I mean, I agree with the intent of the bill. I still do. But there's a bigger problem here, larger than what I just said. It's about what the public thinks. It's not what I think. It's not what we all know and hear as members of this body. We understand probably the ins and outs of this, and we have integrity. I understand that, and I believe my fellow legislators have that. It's beyond that, though. This has gotten blown up. It's turned into public perception, and public perception rules. I'm sorry. I'm sorry it doesn't follow logic. It doesn't follow somebody who got into the details. It is just what it is, public perception. And public perception is such. I feel I am best served by not supporting this and not bringing it out because of the public perception issue. I think the institute, the integrity of this legislative body here and across the way is what I'm concerned about. And because of that, I will not vote to bring it out. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Other discussion? Senator Rothfuss.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Mr. Vice President, on and against. And Mr. Vice President, this institution has been around for over 150 years, dating back to the territorial legislature. It'll be around hopefully more than 150 years into the future. And the most important aspect really is that institutional integrity. We're just here temporarily, each of us. We are in seats. We represent our constituents. We do that job. Many have come before us and many will come after us. And the institution itself is more important than any single piece of legislation or the entirety of the legislation that's brought before us this session. The institution is more important than the budget. The institution is more important than anything under consideration by this legislature. And the integrity of this institution depends on the confidence of all of our constituents, all of the people of the state of Wyoming. And this is a moment in time, Mr. Vice President, when the people of the state are looking at this institution and they're questioning, they're worried, they're concerned. And it doesn't matter whether it's fair or not. It doesn't matter that we all know much better than they do what happened, what took place, and what we probably should be concerned about. Because their concern towards the integrity of this institution is paramount, above and beyond everything else. So it doesn't matter what this bill is. It doesn't matter what this bill says. When we're at a point in time when the integrity of the institution is at question, we should unite as a Senate, we should stand up, and we should do whatever helps to preserve that integrity, to cultivate the confidence of our constituents, and to move forward as a body, knowing that the people that come after us will be better for our decision today. Vote no, Mr. Vice President.
Other discussion? Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good senators, as you all know, I was adamantly and I remain adamantly opposed to bringing this bill to the floor. I urge your no vote to preserve the integrity of this institution and each of you. I know that you want this to be about private property rights, but that just isn't the case. The bill is now about threats and intimidation and money. That is not how the Wyoming Legislature conducts its business. We have to resist these behaviors of which we are experiencing. I have been threatened, and I have been intimidated, and I have been coerced to vote on certain pieces of legislation, and that conduct has continued aggressively in the last few years. We must resist. To my friends in Teton County, thanks again for the special legislation. It's always a privilege when we get to fix your local problems. The bill would have passed. The bill would have passed. But it's become something else entirely. And everyone is being brought into this darkness of intimidation and threats. The Senate is above this. There is nothing happening that the money, wealth, and intelligence that is in Teton County that they cannot solve in 10 months. We will be back in 10 months and protect those poor people of Teton County from all their problems, of whom this really goes to protect money. The bill is about money, not private property rights. It's about making money. This isn't protecting the poor. This isn't protecting the children. This isn't fulfilling any constitutional obligation. This is about intimidation and threats. Don't call it anything but what it is, and resist and stand up. This is the Wyoming Senate. Vote no.
Senator Dockstader.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. From the very beginning, when I heard about all this, I thought, this is an integrity issue. 3 trips home in the meantime. That's all I heard about. Not all of this other work that we're dealing with, but this issue alone. And I walked away from, I said in the early stages, I says, ooh, sticky hands, and now we have sticky hands. Let's wash our hands of this. It's an integrity issue. This is a solid no vote, and this is the body to do it. On and opposed.
Any other discussion? We are now voting on whether to recall House Bill 141 from Committee Number 2 and commit the bill to Committee of the Whole. The Chief Clerk will call the roll. Okay. This vote requires a 2/3 majority.
Roll call on the motion. Anderson? No. No. Barlow? No. Boner? No. Brennan? No. Case? No. Cooper? No. Crago? No. Crum? No. Dockstetter? No. Driscoll? No. French? Aye. Guru? No. Hicks? Aye. Hutchings? Aye. Ide? Aye. Jones? No. Cole? No. Landon? No. Larson? Aye. Love? No. McEwen? No. Nethercott? No. Olson? No. No. Pappas? No. Pearson? Aye. Rothfuss? No. Salazar?
No.
No. Schuler? No. Scott? No. Steinmetz? Aye. President Beitman? No. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. On the motion, 7 aye, 24 no.
There being 24 noes and 7 ayes, the motion has failed. Mr. President.
All right, signing of enrolled acts. We are at that order of business, is signing enrolled acts. Senate Enrolled Act number 20.
Senate Enrolled Act number 20, original Senate File 19, epinephrine delivery methods, an act relating to public health and safety.
I'm about to sign Senate Enrolled Act number 20, being original Senate File 19. I have so signed. Senate Enrolled Act number 21.
Senate Enrolled Act number 21, being original Senate File 22, unincorporated nonprofit associations amendments, an act relating to corporations, partnerships, and associations.
I'm about to sign Senate Enrolled Act number 21, being original Senate File 22. So signed. Senate Enrolled Act number 22.
Senate Enrolled Act number 22, being original Senate File 27, leash dogs for tracking black bear, an act relating to game and fish.
I'm about to sign Senate Enrolled Act number 22, being original Senate File 27. I've so signed. Senate Enrolled Act number 23.
Senate Enrolled Act number 23, being original Senate File 71, Wyoming Department of Homeland Security, an act relating to the administration of government.
I'm about to sign Senate Enrolled Act number 23, being original Senate File 71. I've so signed. Senate Enrolled Act number 24.
Senate Enrolled Act number 24, being original Senate File 53, keeping amateurism in high school sports, an act relating to education.
I'm about to sign Senate Enrolled Act number 24, being original Senate File 53. So signed. House Enrolled Act number 5.
House Enrolled Act number 5, being original House Bill 112, an act related to state-funded capital construction.
I'm about to sign House Enrolled Act number 5, being original House Bill 112. I'm so signed. House Enrolled Act number 6.
House Enrolled Act number 6, being original House Bill 106, an act relating to the state forester.
I'm about to sign House Enrolled Act number 6, being original House Bill 106. I have so signed. House Enrolled Act number 7.
House Enrolled Act number 7, being original House Bill 32, an act relating to motor vehicles.
I am about to sign House Enrolled Act number 7, being original House Bill 32. Have so signed. House Enrolled Act number 8.
House Enrolled Act number 8 being original House Bill 8, an act relating to crimes and offenses.
I'm about to sign House Enrolled Act number 8, being original House Bill 8. Have so signed. House Enrolled Act number 9.
House Enrolled Act number 9 being original House Bill 26, an act relating to motor vehicles.
I am about to sign House Enrolled Act number 9, being original House Bill 26. Have so signed. House Enrolled Act number 10.
House Enrolled Act number 10 being original House Bill 105, an act relating to school buildings and facilities.
I'm about to sign House Enrolled Act number 10, being original House Bill 105. I have so signed. House Enrolled Act number 11.
House Enrolled Act number 11 being original House Bill number 107, an act relating to local government funding.
I'm about to sign House Enrolled Act number 11, being original House Bill 107. I have so signed. House Enrolled Act number 12.
House Enrolled Act number 12 being original House Bill 9, an act relating to crimes and offenses.
I'm about to sign House Enrolled Act number 12, being original House Bill 9. I'm so signed. And Enrolled Joint Resolution number 1 of the House of Representatives.
Enrolled Joint Resolution number 1 being original House Joint Resolution number 2, a joint resolution.
I'm about to sign Enrolled House Joint Resolution number 1, being original House Joint Resolution 2. So signed. Okay, confirmation of appointments. We're at that order of business, Senate confirmation of appointments. Madam Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate resolve itself into open executive session.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Motion carries. Will the reading clerk please read the entire list of nominees to Wyoming's boards, commissions, and agency director positions?
Aeronautics Commission, Jerry Bland. Agriculture Board, Aaron Clark, Emma Mercer, Lexi Boder. Agriculture and Natural Resource Mediation Board, Robert Hendry, Gil McHenry, Sarah Phelan. Arts Council, Mark Pedry, Robert Martinez, M. Kevin Voiles. Barber Examiner Board, Ashley Mendoza, Samantha Elfering. Business Council Board of Directors, Mark Christensen, Kathleen Legursky, Joseph Schaefer, Elizabeth Worthen. Children's Trust Fund Board, Lisa Wagle, Marguerite Herman. Community College Commission, Ruby D. Calvert. Community Development Authority Board, Patrick Thomas. Cultural Trust Fund Board, Lyle Murtha, Marion Bender, Susan Summers. Education State Board, Julia Gentle. Energy Authority Board, Preston Farnsworth, Marnie Jones, Kara Choquette, Kenneth Miller. Energy Resources Council, Donald Burkhart, Cindy Crane. Enhanced Oil Recovery Commission, Paul Geiger. Equalization Board, Carl Anderson. Gaming Commission, Dennis Sinclair, Coulter Felton, Reuben Ritholler, Jenny Wildcat. Geological Survey Board, Ryan Cox. Board of Professional Geologists, Mark Falk, Brian Smith, Graham Finley. Judicial Conduct and Ethics Commission, Justin Spicer, Joy Bell. Medicine Board, Jenkins Clarkson, MD. Mental Health Professions Licensing Board, Stacy Polson, Teresa Reeves. Mining Council, Benny Harcourt, Nathan Gillespie, Curtis Cooley Jr. Oil and Gas Conservation Commission, Paul Geiger. Outfitters and Professional Guides Board, Ted Jenkins, Lee Livingston. Parks and Cultural Resources Commission, Michael Bond, Robert King, Jill Benson, Kevin Knapp. Parole Board, John Conrad. Pharmacy Board, Andrew Cannon. Psychology Board, Robert Bayek, Mark Gibson. Public Service Commission, Christopher Boswell. Real Estate Commission, Wendy Hauk, Jezreel Latham. Retirement System Board of Directors, Catherine Kerr. School Facilities Commission, John Jack Tarter. Tourism Board, Deborah Pummel, Bruce Sowers, Jonathan Sullivan. Veterinary Medicine Board, Sarah Odekoven. Water Development Commission, Jared Whitebull. Agency Directors for Senate Confirmation, Attorney General Keith Couts. Revenue Department, Brett Fanning. State Geologist, Rainey Lenz.
Mr. President, I move for adoption of the governor's appointments as read, and that the Senate vote collectively as a consent list consisting of all appointments.
All right. Excuse me. Does any member wish to remove any name from the consent list? Senator Brennan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask that Christopher Boswell be removed from the consent list.
Okay. Christopher Boswell has been removed from the consent list. And the agency is?
Public Service Commission.
Public Service Commission. Any others? Okay, seeing none. We are now voting on the consent list absent Christopher Boswell. Chief Clerk, please call the roll.
On the consent list, Anderson? Aye. Barlow? Aye. Boner? Aye. Brennan? Aye. Case? Aye. Cooper? Aye. Craigo? Aye. Crum? Aye. Dockstader? Aye. Driscoll? Aye. French? Aye. Guru? Aye. Hicks? Aye. Hutchings? Aye. Ide? Aye. Jones? Aye. Cole? Aye. Landon? Aye. Larson? Aye. Love? Aye. McEwen? Aye. Nethercott? Aye. Olson? Aye. Pappas? Aye. Pearson? Aye. Rothfuss? Aye. Salazar? Aye. Schuler? Aye. Scott? Aye. Steinmetz? Aye. President Beitman?
Aye.
Aye. Closing vote? Closing. Vote closed. On the consent list of names, 31 aye.
By your vote, the appointments on the consent list have been approved. Senator Brennan.
Conflict.
Okay.
I don't have any.
No discussion? We are now voting on Public Service Commission, Christopher Boswell. Chief Clerk, please call the roll.
For the appointee, Christopher Boswell, Public Service Commission, Roll call. Anderson? Aye. Barlow? Aye. Boner? Aye. Brennan? Conflict? Case? Aye. Cooper? Aye. Craigo? Aye. Crum? Crum? Aye. Dockstetter? Aye. Driscoll? Aye. French? Aye. Guru? Aye. Hicks? Aye. Hutchings? No. Aye. Aye. Jones? Aye. Cole? Aye. Landon? Aye. Larson? Aye. Love? Aye. McEwen? Aye. Nethercott? Aye. Olson? Aye. Pappas? Aye. Pearson? Aye. Rothfuss? Aye. Salazar? Aye. Schuler? Aye. Scott? Aye. Steinmetz? Aye. President Beitman?
Aye.
Aye. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. On the confirmation of Christopher Boswell, 29 aye, 1 no, 1 conflict.
By your vote, the appointment of Christopher Boswell has been approved. We have, okay, Madam Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, I move for adoption of the Investment Funds Committee appointments in accordance with Wyoming Statute 9-4-720 as amended.
Thank you. Will the reading clerk please read the names submitted?
Investment Funds Committee, Steve Dubois, Chip Nisbet.
Okay. Absent objection, we will vote on these two names as a consent list. Chief Clerk, please call the roll on the IFC appointments.
Investment Funds Committee appointments. Roll call. Anderson. Aye. Barlow. Aye. Boner. Aye. Brennan. Aye. Case. Aye. Cooper. Aye. Craigo. Aye. Crum. Aye. Dockstetter. Aye. Driscoll. Aye. French. Aye. Guru. Aye. Hicks. Aye. Hutchings. Aye. Ide. Aye. Jones. Aye. Cole. Aye. Landon. Aye. Larson. Aye. Love. Aye. McEwen. Aye. Nethercott. Aye. Olson. Aye. Pappas. Aye. Pearson. Aye. Rothfuss. Aye. Salazar. Aye. Schuler. Aye. Scott. Aye. Steinmetz. Aye. President Beitman.
Aye.
Aye. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. On the Investment Funds Committee, 31 aye.
By your vote, both Investment Funds Committee appointees have been confirmed. Madam Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate dissolve itself from open executive session.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. Motion carries. Senator Love.
Mr. President, privilege of the floor.
Floor is yours.
Thank you. Up in the balcony above the president, we have Todd Sweeter, principal of Pine Bluff High School, and the Pine Bluff Student Council. Go Hornets.
All right. Welcome to the Senate, Pine Bluffs. All right. Messages from the House.
Messages from the House of Representatives dated February 27th, 2026. The following bills passed the House on third reading by the votes indicated. Senate File 19, epinephrine delivery methods, ayes 59, excused 3. Senate File 22, unincorporated nonprofit associations amendments, ayes 51, noes 8, excused 3. Senate File 27, leash dogs for tracking black bear, ayes 59, excused 3. Senate File 53, keeping amateurism in high school athletics, ayes 57, noes 2, excused 3. Senate File 71, Wyoming Department of Homeland Security, ayes 37, noes 22, excused 3. Each signed Katie Talbot, Chief Clerk. Mr. President, the following messages, each dated February 27th, 2026, concurrence requested. The following Senate files passed third reading in an amended form by the vote indicated. Message number 220, Senate File 20, ayes 34, noes 25, excused 3. Senate File 48, Stem Cell Freedom Act, ayes 59, excused 3. Message 226, Senate File 119, Strategic Investments and Projects Account Repeal 2, ayes 39, noes 19, excused 4, each signed Katie Talbot, House Chief Clerk. Message number 227, dated February 27th, 2026. Concurrence passed. House Joint Resolution 2, Federal Mineral Royalties State Share, ayes 55, excused 7. Message number 228, dated February 27th, concurrence passed. House Bill 105, K through 12 School Facilities Appropriations 2, ayes 55, excused 5, absent 2. Message 229, concurrence passed February 27th, 2026. House Bill 107, Local Government Distributions, ayes 55, excused 5, absent 2. Message number 230, concurrence passed February 27th, 2026. House Bill 9, Grooming of Children, Offenses and Amendments, ayes 57, excused 5. House Bill 231, concurrence failed. Mr. President, dated February 27th, 2026. House Bill 36, Forestry Division Wildland Fire Modules. The House failed to concur on Senate amendments to the bill listed above by the vote indicated. Ayes 24, noes 32, excused 6. Message number 232, conferees appointed. February 27th, 2026, the House appointed House conferees to meet with the Like Committee number 1 from the Senate on amendments to House Bill 36. Suspend further reading, signed Katie Talbot, House Chief Clerk. House Bill 233, concurrence failed. Mr. President, dated February 27th, 2026, House Bill 111, state-funded capital construction. The House failed to concur on Senate amendments to the bill listed above by the vote indicated. Ayes 7, noes 49, excused 6. Message number 234, conferees appointed. Mr. President, February 27th, 2026, the House appointed House conferees to meet with the Like Committee from the Senate on amendments to House Bill 111, suspend further reading, each signed Katie Talbot, House Chief Clerk.
Thank you. Okay. Joint Conference Committee reports. Senator Salazar, are you ready on Joint Conference Committee number 1 to Senate File 1?
Yes, Mr. President. I move adoption of the Joint Conference
We
Committee.
need to have it read in, please.
Okay.
Senate File 1, General Government Appropriations, dispensing with further reading. Signed, Senators Beitman, Crum, Garou, Nethercott, and Salazar. Representatives Bear, Angelos, Heiner, Nyman, and Pendergraft.
Thank you. Mr. Vice President.
Mr. President, I move adoption of the Joint Conference Committee Report Number 1 to Senate File HB1 and ask you to vote aye. Members of the honorable members, we as a conference committee are going to go through this. In front of you, you have a copy of the Joint Conference Committee report. You have a goldenrod, and you also have a summary sheet, Joint Conference Committee summary report for this. And to start it off, I will call on the Minority Leader.
Senator Garou.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are going to be using the Joint Conference Committee report to give this high-level overview, and then we'll stand for questions. If you turn to the first page, just the cover page of that report, what you'll see first is the Senate adopted amendments. Give everybody a second, make sure that you have that copy in front of you. Okay. So the amendments, you can read in the first paragraph there, $75,000 for sign language, and just read on down and you can see, I think the two I want to draw your attention to are 37 and 38. This is the change of $44 million of the general fund and transfer that to the PTMF, and the $88 million from the SFRA to the school foundation fund there on line 38. In the next paragraph, adopt the House amendments. These were House amendments that we adopted, and you can drop down and see those. The shooting sports complexes there, the archaeological amendment that was there, the work on human remains, and you can see each one as you go down from that page. And like I say, we will be glad to answer questions on those, the Senate and the House amendments. Then from there, you'll see the Senate deleted amendments, and on the next page, the House deleted amendments. And from that, I'm going to turn it over to the good senator from across the hill to talk about the meat of the bill.
Senator Crum.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I would ask everybody on this report to turn to page 12, please. It looks like an income statement, an expense statement. Page 12. What this sheet does, it's a summary of all the actions taken and agreed upon by the Joint Conference Committee. And you can go through here, and I don't want to read it to you line by line, but I want to talk about big picture what took place in Joint Conference Committee. I believe this body sent the Joint Conference Committee down one to make sure the University of Wyoming was fully funded. It is, minus $100,000 to do a study that they've agreed to fund. So the University of Wyoming is fully funded. Two, you asked us to make sure that the employees' salaries of the state of Wyoming got a raise as we approved in our budget on this side. We got the raises just as you guys approved on this side, so we did that. Three, you asked that the Senate fully fund and the legislature fully fund the IT that was requested in the budget. We did that, and it was agreed to. And four, you said that the Business Council was up for negotiation, and it was. And the Business Council was taken down. There's some little back and forth of exactly what that number looks like, but between $12 and $14 million is what the Business Council will have for this next year to operate on. What it does do, it allows the Business Council to continue in operation. It does not require them to cut any employees so they are fully staffed. There will be no employee layoffs. And then there'll be, hopefully here in the next little bit, approved interim committee to look at the business council and decide what this body and the body down the hall and the governor wants the business council to look like coming into next year's legislature. That's what this sheet tells you. There's a few other one-offs. We've got some footnotes that we're going to go through that really talks about what the budget did and didn't do. After we get through those footnotes, we can take individual questions on individual items and that type of thing. But I think as we discuss the footnotes, you'll really understand the budget where we're at. But we tried to adhere, and I believe we did, listen to 100% of what this body sent us into joint conference to do. And I would also highly recommend that we approve this budget. And with that, I believe I turn over to Senator Salazar.
Thank you, Senator Crum. Mr. Vice President.
Mr. President, if you'll look on page 15, section 329, employee compensation, we heard the Senate body, and we fully funded, back to the governor's rec, the employee compensation. If you look at page 15, page 16, and the very top of 17, it tells you specifically where these dollars are going to. I'll give you just one example. If you look at I1, AI, $64,191,153 for distribution among the executive branch agencies. You yourselves can go down, I don't have to read it, you can read it. Page 16, you see exactly where all these compensation dollars are going. With that, I will turn it over to the Majority Leader.
Madam Majority Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good senators, I'm going to have you turn back to really the bottom of page 11, section 328. So just for clarity, what Senator Crum referred you to, which is kind of the itemization of these pieces, but what you're looking at there is the restoration of the governor's recommendation. And so that reflects $172,271,354 to our state agencies for the expenditure as highlighted there. Going down into those footnotes, which I will cover with you on the bottom of page 12, we also restored from the governor's rec $108,000 for the local cybersecurity grant program matching. The reason why that's in a legislative appropriate, or in this footnote, is because of the limitation of how it can be spent and to make sure it's spent only for that grant matching program. Moving on to footnote 2. This can really be stricken in reality. It's an appropriation of $18,000. Just want to discuss it briefly. It's for the city, it's for the capital city stormwater program, and the fees assessed there, but our city has repealed those fees, so we just saved $18,000. It just wasn't removed from this particular item, but I'm sure that will revert back to the general fund. Item number 3, $9 million. This was a compromise position with the House. I believe the original amount, this is for invasive species to the Wyoming Cultural Trust Fund, was originally a request of $14 million. We dropped that down to 9. So $9 million is to go to the Wyoming Cultural Trust Fund, the Wyoming and Natural Resource Trust Fund for the purpose of the invasive species. Moving on to footnote 4, $607,227 is appropriated for the public laboratory services and operations. Again, this is part of the governor's recommendation. Footnote 5, $3,145,000 of the federal funds appropriation, $555,000 is appropriated for IT. Item number 6, $3 million is appropriated for Wyoming public television operations, and $19,517 is appropriated for expenditures under the technology replacement program. This is a reduction of about $3.7 million of the additional ask as a result of updated information from public television. Item number 7, this is one of those kind of legislating in the budget pieces that prohibits the use of any funds being expended to pay student athletes or salaries by the community colleges or the University of Wyoming. Item number 8, $12,500,000 is appropriated to provide a state match for funds received by UW. This is UW's matching program. Underneath UW, one particular provision to identify that I've briefly mentioned to many of you before here, in item number 8, subparagraph A, Romanet 1, $10 million is conditioned upon a match for a permanent endowment. All state matching distributions from the challenge account are appropriated solely to support endowments for priorities identified and approved by the University of Wyoming Board of Trustees. Here's more of that. $2,500,000 is conditioned upon a match for purposes of expenditures for the College of Agriculture, Governor's Agricultural Initiative, and this was part of Governor's Rec. I'm going to skip down here into 9, paragraph 9. Again, we have about $875,000, $929 is appropriated for cloud services to keep everybody up to date. 9B, in addition to the appropriations, we have added 15 full-time employees to the state's biennial budget, plus 3 more that were added for the Riverton State Office Building, which isn't reflected right here in this footnote, but just a clarifying piece for the body. There are 18 new full-time employees added to the state's budget. Here's an itemization of where all those employees go. Actually, I'm sorry, it is only 15 full-time state employees, originally 18, down to 15. Due to some other changes that were made. So moving into paragraph C, this has to do with the transfers. The appropriation in subsection A of this section shall be exempt from the limitations on the transfer of funds under section 305. This is a distraction. This is just part of our, how our money gets transferred over. All right, and then we go into highlighting the pieces, section 330, as the good vice president went through section 329, and I will turn that over to Senator Guru.
Thank you. Senator Guru.
Thank you, Mr. President. Section 330 on page 17. If you recall, the Senate position on this Trails Initiative was $1.2 million, and it was specific on the trail that in an area, part of the state. The House position was $400,000, match 1-to-1, and could be applied for anywhere in the state. Where we compromised was $800,000 to come out of the tourism fund. Still hurting on that one. But we did adopt the House language about a 1-to-1 match, and that it can be applied for by anyone. So that is the essence of section 330. And with that, if you want to flip over, just on the last section, after 398, this is another balance there about the state auditors shall transfer $325 million to the Legislative Stabilization Reserve account. That's the last budget balancer. And while that leaves us right now a little close between reversions and everything else, we think that right now it's the feeling of your Joint Appropriations Committee that should cover us. Mr. President, I'd be glad to stand for questions or turn it over to the good chair.
All right, Mr. Vice President.
Mr. President, let me just make a comment with regard to this budget. We are $53 million below the governor's rec. Let me repeat that. We are $53 million below the governor's rec. If you look at this page right here, it was given to you. In general funds, we're spending $3.4 billion. In total funds, $9.989 billion. And again, 53 million below the governor's rec. I ask for your aye vote.
Okay, discussion on the Joint Conference Committee report. Senator Grew.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think that, I don't know if everybody got the copy of that last paper that the good chairman just held up. We will get it to you in short order, so you can see all the numbers. But like I say, the operative number there about the 53 million under Gov's rec. I also, well, we'll wait and see if there are any questions.
Any questions? Senator Landon.
Mr. President, thank you. I just wanted to salute our friends who served on this committee. And a salute also to all the work that went into the budget in the first place. You know, I've done several of these. I think this is year 20, standing here after the discussion on a budget, and never once have I gotten what I thought really should be given in a budget. It just doesn't happen. For me this time, I just have to stand and say that my community is pretty tied in and pretty close with the work of the Wyoming Business Council. A lot of my young entrepreneurs and business owners around the community have benefited greatly on that front. But I also understand that there are a lot of concerns there by my colleagues, and even though it's a little tough on my community to lose some of those services for a little while, I understand that we're going to go to work and hopefully create a new vision. And so I fully intend to support the work of our conference committee. Just wanted to note that I understand back home what your sentiments were, and we're going to work on it. And I've got faith in my colleagues and in the executive branch. We'll get it done, and it'll be better than ever. So I intend to support the conference committee report, and I want to congratulate our colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Landon. Madam Majority Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good senators, for those of you concerned about the Business Council, on your joint conference committee report that we were looking at, that begins on page 7, starts at the designation of page 64, and it goes into page 8. And so you can see on page 8, paragraph 2, here is the accepting out, for those of you that are concerned, Manufacturing Works, Wyoming Small Business Development Center, and the Wyoming Women's Business Center. So those are still fully funded for 2 years and are not part of the cuts that the Business Council received. So just some point of clarity there, that's where you can find that information if you have questions about how that impacted the Business Council. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Majority Floor Leader. Senator Hicks.
Yeah, Mr. President, and for maybe some of the members, and this gets to the footnotes on the goldenrod, in particular one that might be of interest to you, Mr. President. It talks about currently we have still that 1% severance tax out there is allocated in both the budget and Senate File 123, and maybe the committee took that up because there was a House amendment that and maybe you've already explained it, but just if we can have an explanation on some of those items in the goldenrod. I understand the rest of them. We don't know the final disposition of Senate File 104. I think we've dealt with the House Bill, Senate File 1 and Senate File 119. I think those are clarification for those, but the one that's still in my mind out there is House Bill 1 that allocated some of those salary increases out of the 1% severance tax, and yet we have a bill moving over for energy dominance. And so where are we at with that?
Madam Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, thank you. So the House's position was to pay for the employee compensation out of the severance tax. They receded to the Senate's position to pay that compensation out of the general fund. So the only impact on the severance tax is based on Senate File 123.
Any more questions? Discussion? Senator Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do have a question on Section 330, the Trails Project. The $1 matching effectively kills this project. They've talked extensively with their communities and feel like they might be able to raise a couple $100,000, but or at the most probably. Is there a time limit on how long this money would be available to them? Do they have a year? Do they have 5 years? Is there some kind of bracket here for these folks to work on this and raise this money, or is this a one and done deal? Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Groom, Mr. Minority Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I think what the House language here that we adopted, remember, as it was proposed in the Senate, it was for a more or less a single project, or it was delineated more. The House position was that it was to be statewide. The match, the one-to-one match, is good for the life of the budget, which is 2 years. It can go on, and that footnote could go on, but that's what was contemplated.
Oh, Mr. Vice President.
Mr. President? Yeah, just to answer your question, so it's 27 months from today. That's the answer.
Senator Ide.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Just a quick question, kind of a high level on the Wyoming Business Council from where it started and where it ended up. Just the high level bullet points. Thank you.
Thank you. Who wants to tackle that? Senator Nethercott.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Business Ready Community Grants Program has been eliminated. So that was approximately $54 million in savings. And then they received an appropriation that allows for their continued in-house operations for 1 year. And that's approximately $12 million.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, seeing none. Sensing you're ready to vote. The motion is that the Senate do adopt the Joint Conference Committee Number 1 report referencing Senate File 1 and vote aye. The chief clerk will call the roll.
Senate File 1, Joint Conference Committee Number 1 report. Anderson. Aye. Barlow. Aye. Boner. Aye. Brennan. Aye. Case. No. Cooper. Aye. Crago. Aye. Crum. Aye. Driscoll. Aye. Dockstetter. Aye. French. Aye. Guru. Aye. Hicks. Aye. Hutchings. Aye. Ide. No. Jones. Aye. Cole. Aye. Landon. Aye. Larson. Aye. Love. Aye. McEwen. No. Nethercott. Aye. Olson. Aye. Pappas. Aye. Pearson. Aye. Rothfuss. Aye. Salazar. Aye. Schuler. Aye. Scott. Aye. Steinmetz. Aye. President Beitman.
Aye.
Aye. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. Joint Conference Committee Report Number 1 to Senate File 1. 28 aye, 3 no.
By your vote, you have adopted the Joint Conference Committee Number 1 report referencing Senate File 1. Senator Driscoll.
Let's give a round of applause for holding the Senate position, folks. They did unbelievably well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hats off to the Appropriations Committee for all their hard work again. And thank you to my Joint Conference Committee members. Well done. Thank you. Thank you all. All right, Madam Majority Floor Leader, are you ready to take us to lunch?
Yes, Mr. President, I move that we stand recessed until 2:15 p.m.
2:15. Okay. Any announcements? Senator Boner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your Select Water Committee will be meeting to discuss interim topics. Just as soon as you get over there, Senators, about 5 minutes, and room 202 there.
Thank you. Senator Anderson.
Mr. President, your favorite committee, Minerals, Business, and Economic Development, will meet today upon noon recess in about 15 minutes at 12:45 in room W04 and to hear 2 bills. House Bill 116, Destruction of Water is Not Beneficial Use, and House Bill 56, engrossed, Carbon Capture Mandate Repeal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Case.
Mr. President, thank you very much. Your committee number 7, Corporations, Elections, and Political Subdivisions, will meet tomorrow upon the noon recess with our friends down the hall to discuss interim topics. We're going to hold the meeting in the connector downstairs, and it's in a room on the east side. It's one of the bigger rooms. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Over to you, Senator Landon.
Mr. President, just a quick reminder about tomorrow morning. You might remember that we're going to cut the ribbon on the new little civics lab down there. We will have some students here from Albin, I believe, and they'll be the first ones to be able to go in and enjoy the experience. And the rest of us can just simply take pride in the fact that we finished up an awful lot of work on our state capitol building. That'll be kind of the cherry on the sundae. So that's at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Hope you all could be there. You all played a really big role in that. So thank you, Mr. President.
Let's make sure we go support Senator Landon and all his efforts down there tomorrow morning if possible. Senator Brennan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your committee number 10, Labor, Health, and Social Services, will meet at 12:45 in 15 minutes, 12:45, to take up House Bill 80, engrossed identification cards renewal for care facility residents. Will meet in E001 and online.
Thank you very much. Senator Olson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your committee number 1, Judiciary, will meet at 12:45 in room W002 to continue public comment on House Bill 103, Wyoming First Amendment Protection Act. And then we'll take up House Bill 157, Protection of Parental Rights, Cause of Action, and House Bill 92, Sexual Predators Prohibited from Public Office.
Thank you. Senator Salazar.
Mr. President, the Senate appropriation will be meeting in 7 minutes. E301, House re-referrals. Then upon adjournment, we will have an executive session in E301 dealing specifically with that part of the government dealing with health. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator Crum, do you have anything? Nope, we're ready to go to lunch. You've all heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. We're losing our quorum. Motion carries. Senate stands recessed until 2:15 p.m.